Guys on the track, whoa!
All great things have a beginning. This is the reload.
So the Get Up, I think that we decided to title this the Get Up because it's all about the fundamentals. It's all about the basics. And I'm a big fight fan. I'm a big Rocky fan. And I think it's a really cool scene is when he gets knocked down and he has a flashback of all the moments and all the obstacles that were right. And like it flashed of all the things that he's overcome in his life. And it's like, this is nothing. I can get up.
Right.
And so getting up is the first thing we do when we're knocked down. It's the first thing we do when we wake up. And I think that looking at it as a big picture of saying, how basic can I make this? How simple can this be? It can be as simple as the concept of making your bed every morning will change how you go to bed that night.
Because you know why? If I ask you, are you capable of making your bed tomorrow morning? You're going to say, yeah.
Of course.
So you're committing to it. It's a bite-sized piece of the elephant that you can chew off every morning intentionally,
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So we're here with the reload, and Justin, I love the fact of what we wrap this podcast around when it comes to the values, the topics, the realness, and a couple things I know that we're going to definitely be highlighting throughout this journey is our music, our life when it comes to our family, our business, personal life, how we balance that out, and the mindset it takes to be able to be alive today in 2021 at our age with our type of goals in mind and the challenges that are going to be laid out in the future, the challenges that we've already encountered in the past, and how that mindset has evolved. So I'm excited to be able to start this journey off with you, brother.
Cheers to that.
And I think it's really important to highlight that aspect of the journey and remember is that that's the moment where a lot of the biggest challenges are that you face.
That's when it goes from an idea to like real to reality. It's meeting the rubber meets the road right then.
And that's the thing is that when you talk about the word reality is that before you even step into that moment of reality, before that you're manifesting this idea, you're dreaming of this idea, you're thinking about it, and in those thoughts sometimes you don't think about the obstacles that are going to be in reality.
And like some people, I mean, so we've all been there, you hit that speed bump, that problem, that issue, and it can be the thing that instantly turns you around and turns you off of it because it's like, oh, you were almost looking for some reason to quit,
right?
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So you can't let that speed bump become a roadblock, man. You just gotta.
Well, I think failure is sometimes looked upon, and it has a lot of fear attached to it. But getting started is the hardest part of success.
Yep.
So here we are, episode 1, the Get Up. Like I said, my name's JT Adams. I originate from Texas, and now I currently live in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I'm a former United States Marine, former business owner. Currently a national touring musician with a band named Long Cut. My partner Brian and I have been together for over now 3 years, touring from east to west coast, playing music, and that had a beginning as well.
Yeah.
And so that's a little bit about me. I know that you have a phenomenal resume and challenges along your journey that you share with me quite often that kind of really relate and stay parallel. And I want to hear a little bit about that, bro.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was in college. My mother passed away back then, and I came home and started working. And I moved my way through a company, starting with a forklift position. I actually walked out 2 years into it because I didn't feel valued, didn't feel appreciated. Thought I was doing a lot. Wasn't being heard, like a lot of people leave jobs for more reasons than money. It's the quality of life and mental health. So I left there. I went and hung metal for a while at an RV company, and then ultimately ended up going back to that original place I walked out at as like an entry-level quality person. Was in every role there before getting into some leadership stuff and continuous improvement, where I furthered my education. And
I love that
my,
term,
dude, it's
continuous
such a great
improvement.
thing. Because you can't ever get to perfect,
Right.
But if we always go for perfect, you're always going to get closer. It's like dividing a decimal, right? You never hit zero. It's just going to be a
And
smaller
you're
smaller-
setting that infinity up for yourself.
Yep.
You know, so there's never really there's an end state, but there's never the word done.
Right. Right. It's like, how do you always take on more? Well, you get more efficient at the things that you're currently doing. So as you build a routine around it, now you can take on more and take on more. Like, you're always growing.
Right. And I bet that took a lot of balance. Kind of what we were talking about
Well,
earlier.
a lot of sacrifice too, because like,
Oh yeah.
I've always had like my pops in my corner to back me up, you know, but at the same time, it's, you know, one of those things where I would get so into something that I bit down on that, you know, almost in an unhealthy way. Like, I would sacrifice these things to be able to do this, or just fully bury myself in it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
well, that can be healthy if you want to get it done, but you can't let other stuff in
Well, we were
life get-
talking about it earlier about
balance.
the word manic, you know, and I think that has its blessings and its curses.
Agreed.
You know?
It does. It absolutely does. As long as you're able to like slow down and see stuff along the way, you know, like not letting, like never dwelling on like past situations, but being aware of them and learn from them and being able to recognize. So you, don't
So
do
you were
the same
working the
things.
forklift,
Yep.
not feeling like you were the best
And I was
forklifter in the
young,
world.
too, man. Like I was.
You wanted to be the best forklifter. I get it.
No, but like there's always jobs that you find yourself in as you're growing, you know. And I was young and learning about myself at the same
You
time.
wanted
getting
more.
out of partying.
You wanted
and
more
stuff.
than sticking your forks
Yeah,
in the
skids,
things, in the things.
pallets and
Yeah, pallets
poles
and stuff.
by accident. And
Yeah, you
stuff,
wanted more.
know. But no, so I found myself in this like leadership role where it was really getting me out of my comfort zone in regards to like public speaking and talking in front of groups and people and leading teams but I was finding a lot of like fulfillment within that uneasiness, you know, and like learning about myself, developing character, and then like that played a big part into the music stuff I started doing, you know, like finding uncomfort to find growth, you know.
Like when you started streaming, and that's one thing that you did that you were really successful at, and we'll definitely dive into more of that, but I'm gonna touch on it briefly because it does talk big time about stepping outside your comfort zone.
For sure.
When you started streaming, you talked about that.
Oh yeah.
You conversated with your fans about how uncomfortable this is for you, and you related to them in a way that they never related to somebody like that before,
For sure.
because it's so real and so honest.
Yep.
You know, and that's what I'm
agree with
excited
that.
about our podcast, because it's going to push me to be honest and to find growth in that natural conversation that I've always had with you.
Here in Michigan right now, but I'm not always from here either. So
Well, I'm originally from Texas, and I moved to Colorado a while back in 2010, and Colorado changed my life. I have to admit, you know, I really became an individual. So before Colorado, I was in the United States Marine Corps, and there was a beginning there that had a lot of fear attached to it and a lot of faith that I had to put into myself and the system to be able to know that it's okay to be scared, and it's okay to not be 100% prepared, but you can't miss opportunities. And the Marine Corps was an opportunity that I took advantage of, and it positioned me in Colorado. And so that's where I'm still at, in Colorado. And so in that journey, there's been a beginning to every single story, every single success story, everything. And so that's what I wanted to be able to highlight in our podcast in episode 1, is the beginning of where we started as individuals, but really where are we at right now when it comes to 2021 and reaching out there for things. And when you're told maybe by your friends, family, loved ones, or your peers online, or whoever it is, that you don't have the time, or hey, that isn't what you should be doing. Right, those type of things where it's like, hey, you know what, this is a really great opportunity for us to grow as individuals and grow as friends, and also hopefully influence, you know, our crowd who wants to be able to hang out with us for an hour or so when we go through this.
Yeah.
And so that's where I kind of come from, the Marine Corps, and now I'm currently a national touring musician with a band called Long Cut. And there's a beginning to that as well that had a lot of fear and took a lot of faith. And I'm really excited to share a lot of this with y'all, man.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. For me, you know, he said he gave a little insight of where he's coming from. I grew up in a small town in northern Indiana, born in North Carolina, and after college, my mom passed away, and I started working right away and jumped into a lot of different jobs. Long story short, moved through a bunch of different roles and ended up in a leadership position and started to find a a lot of fulfillment in that, in the influence, not the authority, to touch people's lives through their process and stuff like that. But I think
Start off with your company as a forklift driver.
right,
And I think that the biggest thing that motivated you was the fact that you held you to a certain standard.
right,
You weren't going to be spoken a certain way. You weren't going to accept a certain pay, and you had something to say about it.
yeah.
You know,
Well, yeah, and I love the people I work with first and foremost. But like, with that job, we pushed for high numbers, and everybody was always trying to get more and more and more out of it, and it just felt like, some things went unappreciated,
Right.
and it happens to a lot of people. A lot of people have that happen to them in their career, and I think recognizing that from having gone through it, then later on in my career as a leader, I was really able to relate to people, and that really is what allowed my position and my influence to help change culture. Through
well,
this
now you're
entire
a big
company.
deal.
I
I mean, you
I'd
start
like to
off.
believe that,
Let me just back.
I
Let me
like to
get this
believe
right.
that.
So you started off as a forklift driver.
Right.
You were kind of like with your headphones, your gloves. You were listening to Tupac,
Yeah.
moving boxes around in a warehouse.
No, it was a high paced production job. I was carrying aluminum extrusion.
Well, okay. In my mind, that's what you were doing.
Dude, the forklift.
In my mind, you were
tires,
listening
it
to
was awesome.
Tupac, moving boxes.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, you basically created an entire philosophy for manufacturing to be able to produce at a higher quality, at a better, faster rate.
I wouldn't necessarily even say that I created. It's just using the tools that I had to my disposal, but more so understanding the value of people and supporting like
He's humble.
their growth. No, it's truth. It's truth.
He's humble.
But it just plays into how the impact with people and like how you relate to people, how much of a role that plays into.
Right, man.
You know what I mean?
Well, what I love is that when it comes to you and I, we have such a parallel story and journey, but on opposite perspectives
Right.
of the details behind it.
Sure.
Me coming from Texas, coming from the family that I came from, going from the military and into owning a ranch, into now being a touring musician. There's a lot of there's a
barber.
lot of now I'm a barber, going through that school just to kind of really stretch myself, and there's a lot of tangible relations that aren't the same,
Right.
but intangibly there's a lot of things that are in common that I love of where we've been as friends now for 3 years.
Yeah.
We've grown a lot and we stretched ourselves, and that's what you have to do to be able to take on this goal or this dream that you've been manifesting. You got to put together the right team.
Yeah. No, it's all about the team.
It is. Long Cut would not be where we're at if it wasn't for the right team. My partner Brian, him and I have been together writing music, touring around the United States and putting out songs now for quite some time. And we're at a point where we expanded our team, and it's with patience, it's with balance, it's with putting out dope music, and staying
And
consistent.
being able to react to situations like just appropriately, like COVID
Right.
for one,
Absolutely, man. And when that hit, there was a lot of pressure that hit. And it really demonstrated how important balance is,
Absolutely.
And I bet, and that's something that I want to hear you talk a little bit more about. I really can't wrap my head around, your day-to-day grind that you went through over the years, because, you went to college.
Yeah.
What college did you go to?
I went to IU, Indiana University. So
Oh,
Hoosiers. Hoo.
already.
Yeah, so I loved it down there, man. I mean, I got to partying a little too much too, but at the same time, it was a great experience, a beautiful city. I would love to be back down there to visit, But yeah, great time of my life, but also I lost sight of some things when I was down there. My mom was always sick growing up, and that was kind of a key point in her life that, I don't regret, because she wouldn't have wanted me to not be there,
Right.
but at the same time, I do regret that I wasn't aware of how serious it had gotten, just by default, like it just happened, and coming home one time and, not realizing that it was the last time it was going to be. So that was tough, and then life changed. And sometimes, I think this is a good segue. Sometimes, we're not ready for life to change, but we adapt, like we were talking about. We adapt and we find a way to overcome, and you develop a lot of character. Those uncomfortable situations aren't always gonna be asked for or intentional, right?
Mm-mm.
But getting out of the comfort zone is what makes people so vastly different. Like the range of which you get out of your comfort zone defines your greatness, I feel.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to be able to swing for the fence and understand that you falling short is okay.
Right.
You know, you're still gonna be able to, turn bases, and that's where I just relate a lot with your story because when I was given the opportunity to basically walk away from my comfort of life to take the risk of being a touring musician, I mean, I remember Brian and I lost our job. We lost relationships, money, and we did things for free or we actually paid to do things because we wanted the opportunity.
Yeah.
And we capitalized on that opportunity. And that's what you have to understand is that success comes with that sacrifice. You're going to sacrifice friends, your freedom. When I say freedom, I mean like your off
And it's a
time.
perspective because your friends think
right.
a good friend will recognize that you're pushing something and they'll be there when you're able to.
And I
Or
guess
they'll support it,
I say it very loosely of, I guess,
Right.
like the college mindset of you're going to party. You said that you party, but you also said that you were great in class. To me, that's that balance.
Yeah.
And you're holding yourself accountable. A lot of folks, they get in there and they lose it.
Yeah.
They're given that they're given that slack and they lose it. And I think that's where throughout the years I've just learned how important balance is.
Yeah,
I've
for sure.
understood in order for the Marine Corps to work out, my family to work out, my music to work out, Long Cut to work out, the Reload to work out, and etc. For all of the things that we manifest, we have to see the reality. And the
sure.
reality is we have to have a good team, we have to trust each other, and we have to have that balance. And they have to have a balance of all those
And the only
playing
way
fields.
to know what balance really means is to know a true north. You have to have that true north. The thing that's going to allow you to say, hey, is that within the scope of what I'm trying to do? If I'm outside of those, that parameter, then I probably shouldn't be playing out there,
Yeah, and you said that term a lot, and I like it a lot. Because it keeps the conversation real fast in perspective.
Yeah, you're
because when
moving
you
the like you're moving the
exactly
needle.
when you ask that question, is this for our true north? Are we focused on our true north, or is
It
this
makes
something?
you look in the mirror,
Absolutely.
you know?
And I think that's really important to do, not only on a larger scale, but on an individual scale as well, as waking up and making your bed every morning and using that as a metaphor. Though you don't have to. I mean, whatever.
the
Maybe you got somebody that
it's
makes your bed
intentionality.
for you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I don't know, but if you can wake up every day and remember those fundamentals, with time, I believe that great things come from being consistent.
Yep.
And making sure that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted.
Man, I always say that term backwards. I'm so glad you nailed that. No, that was impressive, man. That was impressive.
Yeah.
Great talking points. Let's expand upon that. But I think first I want to circle back to we talked about the Get Up and how this is something about beginnings. Us meeting in this small town in Michigan.
Yeah, dude.
That it feels at this point is no accident, but people cross paths and miss opportunities in friendships and relationships every day. But it makes you wonder, like how the hell did we connect
Right.
to be able to grow something like this for that split period of time that we cross paths,
Yeah, I think it's all about vibes. We met and we hung out inside the tour bus that Long Cut tours around in, and we were
Yep. You
kicking
just
back.
picked it up.
Yeah, we just picked it up, and it was cool because I don't think that there was marijuana was involved, and I think marijuana eases the tension and allows for good vibes to be created, and so we took advantage of that
it's level of,
situation.
like, camaraderie that
Yeah,
you
man.
guys share like a situation, or if you go through a tough mutter with somebody, like that camaraderie. Of
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's exactly what the word is: camaraderie and cohesiveness.
Yep.
And so we followed up with each other via phone, and while we toured around, we stayed in contact. And you helped out with designing all sorts of logos. You were really cool with the computer, and you were sending stuff over that we were actually liking. I mean, you just designed some logos for some of the new songs we're
Yep,
putting out. So
for
you're
sure.
still doing things that were awesome back then and were such a huge influence in our music that you're still doing today, and that's consistency, bro.
That shit's fun.
You know
man.
what I'm saying? And
It's
that's why
something
we're
I
growing.
like too. I enjoy it, and like I'm all about adding value where I can and for things I care about, and it's it doesn't have to have a return. and it's just been cool that we've grown our friendship into something that
Absolutely,
now is
man.
giving us both a return. You know?
Yeah, dude.
So,
And so this has been a challenge to get the podcast up and running because we talked about it. You brought it up and you were like, "Hey, man, why have we not done a podcast yet?" And you shot us the name not long cut, the Reload over to my email, and
Yeah.
I fell in love with the idea. I fell in love with the logo. And I think it was the fact that what is the reload? I think everybody needs a second chance, a third
Yep.
chance. It's just an opportunity for them to reload and put new ammunition inside their chamber.
breath.
Take a breath and not hold themselves
Reanalyze
accountable
the
for
situation.
maybe something that happened 5-10 years ago, or a mistake you made, or a failure that you had,
Mm-hmm.
because that creates fear, anxiety, and stress. And I am guilty of that. I feel
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And that's why I'm just saying it, because I know what that feels like.
yeah, no, that's spot on. I think it means whatever you guys make it to be, because like I could relate to it in a number of different ways. You know, it's the rest day after working out for a week. You know what I mean? Like making sure you get that. You're reloading your body. We do it every night when we go to sleep. You know, it's that reload. It's a different interval of time where we're just like, hey, this is for me. This is for me to get my breath and
Yep.
reanalyze and redirect.
Yep.
If I'm
And just
adjusting and
dump
going.
dump thoughts out your head sometimes so you can have room to reload. You
Yep.
know? So like I was talking earlier about music,
Or it
you
could
know,
be like a roast. You roast somebody, get them type of thing. Reload.
you want to have a roast session?
It's like Arsenal. It's like, yeah.
We can have like a battle.
Yeah, have a roast battle.
We can bring
be
some
goofy
we can do like some hip hop battles
as characters.
with puppets. I've been watching too
You
much
said
Barney with my
puppets.
child.
Yeah, you got a.
That's all I've been watching, man.
That's funny stuff.
Well, you and I have a lot in common, man, and we also have a lot of things that aren't in common, but something we do have in common
Yeah.
is music. And you've got a really cool approach towards music because you're kind of paving, I wouldn't say paving your own road, because there's a huge market in what you're looking into doing.
Yeah.
And it's that motivational speech. It's influencing with a cause,
It's almost a
spoken word, but it's behind, dope instrumentals, and it's behind, concepts that are meaningful and impactful with a really good hook attached to them. And I mean, you got that one song that we're working on, that One by One.
Yeah.
I love it. Even though it's
Yeah.
so simple, it means so much. And because it is, it's about taking one step at a time, one punch, one round, one
Yep.
fight. And that's how I took it. And that really falls back onto where you begin is how you finish.
Yeah.
If you can start with the jab and understand that it's a crawl, walk, run into victory, and that it's going to take pain, and that pain is temporary. It's going to take sacrifice, but it's going to have results of
The
success.
choices we make
Right.
define who we become.
And it's in your lyrics. So hey, tell us about your music journey, man, because that's kind of something that was not really, it was a challenge for you.
Oh,
It was even socially with your professional job.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
tell us about it.
So I mean, it's something that I've always had an ear for, but I've never actually played an instrument. Always been more of the lyrics, and behind the music type of thing, like getting the goosebumps from what's said and the feeling that it is with the music. But I guess when we went to Mexico after I got back from there, that was one of that started to transition and change. And I think it came from a number of different things, and that was just taking the risk of even taking that trip, going to New Orleans randomly and getting out and just living life, right? But that spot of just being uncomfortable has pushed me into finding value in changing.
Right.
So trying new things, getting outside the comfort zone, not being the person that kicks my feet up. I did streaming stuff for a while, and then that opened me up as well to, for starting to rap and freestyle on there, and get a part of some cool stuff there. And ultimately, you got to end up seeing it through the streaming.
Yeah, and I really
I never wanted to bridge that gap with you though, and then it happened naturally. It was kind
Well, I
of cool.
really enjoyed watching you on your streaming platforms because I enjoyed, how you were influencing other people, and that's awesome to see someone have success, and you still have success
Yeah.
on these streaming platforms, and you were influencing people in a manner because they could relate to your honesty.
Yeah, the authenticity. Of it.
Oh man, I mean, you
people
touched
see through bullshit, dude.
for sure,
They
and
see right
and there
through
was no BS that was on your streaming. and you had a lot of people engaging, and a lot of people like sending hearts and just really good vibes. And I think that's what it is all about, is being yourself. And it's challenging to be yourself when you're influenced by so much in the world, but you allowed yourself to have those blinders up and find a platform after all of what's been going on with COVID, and you got some hours cut or something happened,
Yeah,
right?
well, I switched up professions. Like, not professions, same industry, but I left for some other reasons too.
But instead of complaining about whatever's going on, you
Yeah.
made adjustments to make you happy, and it
Absolutely.
paid off. I mean, look where we're at today.
Yeah.
We now have no fear when it comes to
I think that was a
failing.
number of reasons that triggered that, is because like I had put out that I had just wrote my first song, and then I got my wrist slapped a little bit from there, which I won't get into the politics behind it, but that was something that I was like, man, really? And that
Yeah, I mean,
almost
they said-
became like, hey, I'm gonna go do music.
Well,
Like,
hang
I'm gonna
on.
actually do it.
I mean, that's a huge. I ain't gonna talk too much on it, but that's a huge drawback, man. That's a huge influencer in someone's life. Is their person that's writing their paycheck is saying, don't do that. And that's what happened with Long Cut. Is that the oil rig said, if you leave on that tour, you will not have a job, and that's basically what they were telling you.
Yeah.
Don't do that, or there's gonna be a consequence.
Right.
And you still say, I'm gonna follow my heart,
I was more quiet about it.
right? But
I
now they
still-
support you.
It's a different place.
A totally different place, and they're riding with you.
Yep.
Isn't that
Absolutely.
awesome?
Yeah,
Things
very
happen for a
supportive.
reason, man.
Yep, I agree. But that also was like a reason for me to push harder at the music stuff. Like, if I wouldn't have had here's where I get into I'm the commitment person. If I bite down on something, I do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I found enjoyment and fulfillment from writing. Went and bought a studio instantly, because I knew if I didn't
Hit that camera.
if I didn't have the ability to do that shit at home, I wouldn't be able to get out in front of people and do it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
having that take this from me. Having that
You don't want this no more?
it was out. I was trying to tell a story. I got distracted. I'm not good at multitasking when that happens.
So, man,
Right
this,
back
we got these cameras halfway under control, but I do believe,
halfway, I would say.
I
that's
do,
overstated.
I do believe that with time, man, our episodes are gonna get better.
No, it's
Our
just like,
quality is gonna
who-
get better. And so that's what I think is the scary part about starting something, is that there's a lot of drawbacks, and there's a lot of, channels you got to read, and this, that, download. Man,
I love how you just spun that for. Yeah, you just
it's crazy.
saw that perfect timing right there, because it's truth. We changed angles and changed it up, and then all of a sudden we're like, that's the growth in this. That's why it's difficult when you see obstacles, and it makes you turn and change direction when you don't want to.
It does, and I think it's all about the mindset. I've been watching a lot of UFC, and these fighters, you got to think about their emotional roller coaster that they live. They might win 2-3 fights in a
Yeah.
row, lose 2 fights, and win 1 fight, lose 3 fights, and have a injury. Like Nate Diaz has that cut, and it just keeps him out of the fights. Where it's like, what does that do to you when you're on that up and down and up and down?
Well, So I think I can speak to that in a number of ways, just from a perspective thing. So I read this book. I can't remember the name of the book, so I'm not going to shout it out. But it talked about a guy who went and met his girlfriend's stepdad or something, who was now a big part of her life. And he was a rich guy. He was like, hey, man, they got to talking. He was just relating to him, and he got real with him. He's like, one thing that I wish I had was not only the youth, but to go back to the journey. Not before you get rich, before it's that, hey, I'm almost not going to make it type of down to the last dime. Then you overcome in that gap in between, right? That's the range of which your lows and your highs are, that's
I see what you're saying.
how epic, you know what I mean? I'm trying to say
Well, I would say that it's something that falls on the balance standpoint.
yeah. But
You know?
what I guess what I was getting at is that, if I was to call in Rich from work, I wouldn't do that, because that's what I have to talk about, and that's what I'm passionate about and find fulfillment is the work and the push and the struggle and the grind. I bet a lot of people would say that when they make it in something or they get famous, you miss the come up. because that's where you were seeing.
I'm still on the come up, man. So it's like I don't
You'll
know.
miss that someday, though, because you're gonna look back.
I
and
hope I miss
you're
it
gonna
someday.
realize that's what made you, though. You know, like that's your come up.
I
That's where
hope,
your
and
growth
that's
is.
that's why we wake up every day and put in, the grind, and we tell ourselves get up. Is
Right.
because we want to be able to make it someday. And I think that is a true statement that if you had to ask somebody like Eric Church or Jason Aldean or Michael Jordan, guys who definitely have made it in the game of whatever that game is, they will sit there and tell you those good old days, when they
Right.
were in the tour bus or on the, wherever.
Because they're like they're points of character.
Right, I mean, you got to think about how many courts Michael Jordan's played on. You know what I'm saying? How many stages Jason Aldean's played on. And I bet he has a lot of cool memories of some of, I wouldn't say the worst stages or the worst courts, but I bet those are some of the best times,
Yeah.
is when you are grinding and you're doing it, I wouldn't say for different reasons. You're just doing it for reasons that were relating to you at that time, man.
It was the moment you had to. It tested your character.
I remember my first music video that I got back in my life, like in my life, my first one. I felt like I felt like I was Eric Church. You know what I'm saying? But now, like I look back on it, and I'm like, man, I see the growth and the evolution of as an artist, and that's what the exciting part is about having that experience. Is that you can now look back and you have a little bit of insight on what the system really does for you when you're just being patient and understanding that good things take time.
And you just made me. This is an idea that I've talked about a lot of times. That result. The result is what's the motivation, right? Like a lot of people will quit working out before they start to get a result. Right, because it takes a little bit to get results. A couple weeks before you notice, somebody else notices the change, right? But if you make it to that result, it validates it and enforces it. And and then it happens. It's the same thing with like, hey, are the decisions I'm making today, are they really going to drive the result that I'm looking for?
Right.
And how do you trust that process and identify that you have got the right things in line that you're doing daily to really grow that and hit that goal?
It's very, very hard.
That's what manifesting is.
Absolutely. It's hard to put that into someone's mind who hasn't accomplished something like that.
Right,
I know a lot of people that are very, very talented, but they're almost scared of success, and I think it's, and I'm blessed to have the support in my life that helps push me into that end zone. And so I can feel that moment where it's like, you know what, I have earned this, and a lot of people are scared of that success. And I think that they should be able to feel it, what it feels like to be a champion and understand what your sacrifices gave you.
It starts to give you a lot of confidence just in you and who you are, and like finding what's that.
Because a lot of people would stay on that forklift.
Yeah. Because you find comfort in it.
Right.
You're really good at what you do. You don't want to relearn a new position, new people.
Exactly.
Regain trust or,
Right, and like those UFC fighters, they probably are happy, maybe at that level where they're winning all the time.
Right.
But the champions, you see them moving up in weight class. You see them calling out the best. That's what I love about fighters, man.
Yeah.
I love it so much, so
dig it.
much. I want to give a quick plug to Mark Anderson from Virginia. He owns Spot Shine Car Wash. He got on our Teespring account and picked him up one of his new Reload hoodies that you can pick up for yourself. We have a QR code that you can see right here in our screen. If you take your phone and just put it right up to it and scan it, there'll be many, many options that will drop down for you. That will get you linked up with our social media. That will get you linked up with our Teespring account for merch. And so big shout out to Mark Anderson for picking up. I think he got a gray one, and that was dope. Send in a photo to the reloadlive@gmail.com of your merch, and we'll send you back a promo code for 20% off your next purchase.
Yeah.
Another shout out to Andy Morris from Morris Motorsports. Hey, this is a homie of yours, man, isn't he?
Yep, that's actually where I met you guys through.
Yeah.
So he hit me up that one day, and we went over, and you guys had just got the tour bus, and the rest is history. So yeah, shout
So
out Andy.
big shout out to Andy. Hey, Morris Motorsports. That's kind of like a tongue twister.
It is.
Morris Motorsports. He put a phenomenal wrap job and some custom chrome on our tour bus, and he's doing a lot more work. I can see it on his Facebook. So hit him up if you're in the Michigan area.
Yep, absolutely.
So if you do have any questions at all, you can go ahead and reach out to the reloadlive@gmail.com, and we will answer your questions right here on our podcast. If you have any shout outs you want to, throw our
If
way.
you get merch,
Yep.
we'll show you up here. We'll show off the merch. Get us like your best photo with that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it
man.
would be.
We got some really cool stuff.
And you can also check us out on Twitch and YouTube. We will post our videos. Twitch is a new platform, we decided to utilize it.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yep. Becky actually sent us a question yesterday. I was talking about us going live and everything on Facebook, and she messaged us. She said, "Where can I get the merch?" And so again, if you click on that QR code, what will happen is you'll be able to click into the internet, and there'll be a little tab there that says Teespring. You click on Teespring, and it will show an entire merch line online for you to be able to make your purchase right then and there. So, hey, great question, Becky. I appreciate it. So let's see, merch store, Reload hoodies. That's what we at. I love the hoodies. I got one on right now. It's real cozy. It's like a really soft cotton, and it's dope.
Yeah, it is.
And I like the red. I'm
The
glad
red
I
is
got
nasty
red.
because that wasn't the original.
Almost
colors.
went with the black that we have right there. Almost
Yeah,
went with the
black
black.
is nasty.
Went with the red just to kind of stretch myself.
He said the red.
It's hard. It is. It's hard for me to get out of wearing
I
black.
never wear red, bro.
I always wear black.
I'm a blue guy, a dark blue or black.
I'm always rocking the.
Well, dude, I have to have a little bit of color on my bald piece, my bald dome piece, because otherwise I look like a thumb, dude. So
That's so funny. Something that we also want to do on the reload is a moment where I talk to you guys about marijuana just a little bit. I am an advocate for marijuana. It has changed my life. Like I was telling you guys earlier, that I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran, and getting out of the Marine Corps was beginning to a new life and new challenges and new experiences. Well, marijuana came into my life and really it helped me discover who I want to be as an individual and what route I want to go down in my life post military. So I like to be able to talk about my new piece of gear I got right here. It's called the Puffco Pro. I'm in my lifted Lambo. Hey. I'm in my lifted Lambo. Hey. I'm in my lifted Lambo. Hey. I'm in my lifted Lambo. I twisted up the whole damn scene. Put a tax lien on a rap theme. No gas leak or a max speed. Had to pay in cash, could deny the lease. 33s through the back seat. I wonder how deep we could really go. They ain't never seen a Lambo pop trunk in the sticks. Dropped in low. Don't matter what they thinking. Candy green like my hand in Franklin's. Stepped out like we playing Hangman. Look like we straight out on the gangland. This was a gift from the greenhouse out in Colorado Springs. So big shout out to you guys. And I got this thing loaded right now, but I want to kind of talk about, what is the new way to smoke a dab. And I think that this is the newest way. We saw some new stuff that came out yesterday that came by the studio, and I'll talk to you guys a little bit about that. You smoked that, didn't you?
Oh my god.
I mean, it came
was
in this
a
big
mess.
suitcase.
Yeah, it was intimidating.
So Living Lifted.
I'm not a.
You like to
I don't
live
get
lifted?
Oh, I do, but I don't smoke quite as much as I used to, man. Like, I love it. It still levels me out.
Do you think you smoke as much as I do?
Hell no. Hell no, dude. I took naps since you've been here.
Well, hey, Living Lifted is something that I live by. I really do. I believe that staying enlightened and utilizing marijuana in a medical form can really help you in any aspect of life. I think it helps me love. It helps me create. eat.
It'll speed,
Yeah.
for sure.
And so this is called the Puffco Pro, and I want to be able to share this with you, man. I got it loaded right now.
Oh,
This
boy.
came from your homeboy.
Let's get it.
So it's on already, and what's really cool about the Puffco is that it's small, and it can travel very, very easily. So the guy that brought over the, what was it called? I got it right
Dr.
here.
Dabber.
Dr. Dabber. And this thing's like home entertainment size, okay? It's not really a travel friendly
It was this
type of
big of a
gear.
box,
Yeah,
right?
it was huge. And you can take giant rips out of this thing that you can put you in very uncomfortable situations.
Yeah, you found that out.
Yeah, I did. So I tried that out. I gave it a shot. And then I haven't smoked anything since. I haven't dabbed since that since that
You
one.
didn't have to.
No. So this is the first time coming back around to dab since that. And I wanted to be able to see what the experience was like from the difference, because you hit that big one as well.
Yeah.
So we'll hit this, you hit it one time and it changes its color. So there is different heat settings.
Yeah.
Green, red, and then white, blue, and so we'll do green. That's like middle, okay? So you do fill water up in there, so it's like a water bong, but it's coreless because it's charged.
It's electric. Yeah.
And it's electric, and it's like a little incubator in here. And so you double tap this, and you wait for it to warm up. And once
did
it
a little
vibrates,
vibrate. Yeah, I heard
so here, once it vibrates, just kind of don't rip it real hard
want me
like
to
a.
go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Should I
So
take this out first?
nope, you just once it vibrates, don't rip it real hard. Just kind of,
I got you.
enjoy it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, and I don't have to clear that.
Nope, you just let it do its thing once it vibrates, and then once you're done hitting that first time, pass it to me.
What's he doing to me, guys? Uh-oh.
There you go, nice and easy. Yeah, get that water moving. There you go. So this is called the Puffco Pro. We have it set on green. It's my turn to rip, and tell them what you think about the flavor.
It's really like, man, it's a big attack on you can feel that go all the way up. But no, it's like piney.
Mm-hmm.
It tastes like piney.
Mm.
I like that.
It's still moving. Oh, so look,
It vibrated again.
look. That's you. Rip
I'm
it.
taking it. Oh, still going?
So if once it vibrates again, your session ends. But you can extend your session by double tapping it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hit it wrong.
No, you didn't.
I got a good hit. So.
So that's a pretty good session.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah. So,
That's all somebody like me needs.
so let the high settle in. One thing I do like is that it's not as harsh as the Dr. Dabber was. But I
You didn't
also
know that
ripped.
It was, yeah.
I also ripped the Dabber
You did like
really,
4
really
or
hard.
5.
Yeah, I was trying to G up. So like I was talking about the Dr. Dabber, it's like a home entertainment thing. It's big, it's nice, and it comes in different colors.
Yeah, it was like fluorescent.
Yeah, and
really
it's an entire experience. It has a light up system. You can control it Bluetooth on your phone. I mean, you can also control the Puffco Pro on your phone. I think the biggest thing I like about the Puffco Pro is that it's you don't waste as much of your
Portable.
product. It's definitely portable. It's very easy to transport, and easy to clean as well. Real
What's
easy.
the
The other one was water, but man, it was so big, and so you got to think about how
Yeah, it's
much
intimidating.
gets stuck in all those tubes and that big cylinder.
Yeah, that's
You know, you're
just a
not.
little cone.
Yeah, you're wasting a lot, but it's a great experience. So hey, that's Living Lifted with JT. I appreciate y'all so much. The Puffco Pro is a little expensive, I would say. In my opinion, it is $400. Probably is
And I'm
maybe a
pretty
little
sure
bit.
The other one was about the price.
I think the other one was around like $450. So for a bigger, better experience in more of a home environment,
Yeah.
I would definitely say the Dr. Dabber is where you need to go. But hey, but if you're on the move and you need something that you can pack into a day bag, Puffco Pro. So cool,
You
man.
heard the man.
Yeah.
Go get you one of those. That was a good experience. I'm gonna feel that for the next segment.
Yeah, I like it, man. I really do. Well, hey, we're going to go ahead and play one of our videos that's on YouTube right now. So make sure you head over to youtube.com/The Reload Podcast and check out the video. I think this is the one you put together. What's it called?
Money doesn't make life easier. Okay, maybe it does. So what's more valuable than money? Well, there is one thing. And oftentimes we waste it without realizing how precious it is. Time waits for no one. When you were 10 years old, counting down the days until you could drive, a year seemed like an eternity. A year was a tenth of your life when you're 10. When you're 50, that same year is just 2% of what you have lived. The years come and go faster than the previous. None of us know how much time we were given. So quit pushing life off until tomorrow. Because when it's gone, so are we. Unlike money, with time, we can't make more. So how you gonna spend it? The Reload.
Welcome back.
You hit start streaming?
No, I didn't start streaming.
All right,
Just
cool,
started
man.
recording.
Perfect. We're still figuring this out. Great job on that video, man.
Man,
Dude, wow. Hey, so these videos that we have up on YouTube, we got like what, 8, 9 of them
there's
maybe?
like 8 or 9.
And that was kind of the beginning, you know, the snowball
Initial
getting built,
surge,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? And so great job on that, man.
How did those thoughts come about? These are things like we both
Dude.
just kind of had kicking around in our heads for years. And
Well, what I love is that you open it up talking about something so tangible, and then it winds up talking about something that's so scary in my mind.
Yeah,
You know, because we don't know when our time is.
right.
And we have to take advantage of opportunities, and we have to jump on opportunities, and not only just for success, just for enjoyment and happiness.
Yeah, like,
You know?
the challenge is a lot of it. You know, but
And that's when I hear you kind of summing up the end of that video, man, it just puts goosebumps on my back because it's so real,
once it's gone, so are we.
man, and it's scary to think about,
It
dude.
is. It's absolutely scary.
But we
Especially
have
as
to
we're,
be
like,
able to talk
both in our
about that.
30s now, you know,
Right.
like
We have
34.
to be able to bring that up and be real about it because that's what should be a motivator to say, you know what, I am going to take advantage of this opportunity. And like,
Yeah, man.
you know, and little things too. Like I've been wanting to go to like another foreign country. I think Mexico inspired me to like go travel
Was
some
that your
more.
first time going out of-
No.
Oh, no, yeah, you were.
Yeah,
you did yours.
but I never, you know, been on a boat
Military.
where it was, you know, with my
Oh,
wife
you
and my
did eat.
friends, and yeah, and I'm like swimming in a hot tub, drinking a margarita, you know. I mean,
Yeah,
that was nice.
for
Then we
sure.
got on a scooter, you know, and scootered around Cozumel, and Darla and I scored a little pot and smoked 2 joints on
That's
this
so
abandoned house on the beach, man. It was great. And so, man, I love the fact that you and I put together these videos separately, and then you would send an email over and say, hey, check this out. And man, it influenced that day because that's how relevant the topics are.
Yeah.
You know, they're right there in
Absolutely.
front of your face. And so,
It's
great
all-
job, man.
I appreciate it, man. That's one of my favorite ones.
So make sure you guys are taking this QR code for advantage. Take advantage of that opportunity. Like I said, take your cell phone. You just scan that. An entire list of where you can find the Reload is available for you. Our merch store is a click away. We appreciate the support when it comes to that. Hey, I got no closing words besides thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate you guys. You got any closing remarks, Brian?
No, man. I'm ready to do it again. We'll
Sounds
see you
good.
guys coming real soon. How often do we want to come see our people?
We're not going to commit.
We're not gonna commit. Sounds good. Sounds like a JT thing to say. No, I'm joking.
We'll figure it out.
No.
Hey, until then, episode 2 is coming soon.
The
And
Reload.
we got some really cool things we want to continue talking about when it comes to music and life and our business plans that we're trying to put in place and just how scary it is, how challenging it is. And we want to not only document it, but we want to be able to just go along this journey with you. So
Yep,
get
for sure.
subscribed, get on Twitch. You can follow us at the Reload Podcast. You can get on our YouTube at the Reload Podcast. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram. I believe we also have a TikTok
Yep. And our
that's
mailing group.
up and running, and you can send an email to the reloadlive@gmail.com and get your 20% off promo code today.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
All right. Later on, guys.
Peace.
Appreciate you.
Some would argue that if you cannot touch something, then it must not be real. That begs the question, do my thoughts not cause me to feel? Are my feelings not tangible because I can't touch them? The reality is that perception is reality. The way we feel is very real.